Yo, YouTube, we're back again, boys, with another video, man. So today we got something that I was thinking about the other night, man. And last night I was playing some Call of Duty and played probably the best search and destroy game in Black Ops 6 so far. Um, in this game, I had 21 kills and 5 deaths. 21 kills, 5 deaths. We came back from a 5-1 deficit and won the game. And the final round was on me. It was a 1v4, and I clutched up 1v4. Um, but when I was thinking about it, after you're in those type of zones, you break out of it and you're in a flow state, right? You're in a flow, you're in a zone, and it almost seems like Ultra Instinct, right? If you guys don't know, Goku, right? Dragon Ball Super. So, but with Ultra Instinct, it's a combination of a bunch of different things that attributed to Goku being able to get into that type of state. And once he broke out of that state, he realized that it was tiring to his body, tiring to his mind, and his next goal was to try to replicate that same transformation, right? I've played plenty of sports and athletics. I've done different things that require me to be into a state where I need to not think so much in flow, right? Just go with whatever comes my way, be able to adapt in the moment and overcome. Um, so before we get into this, guys, like I said, man, I'll put a link down below to that video that I uploaded yesterday where we came back from that 1-5 deficit in Search and Destroy. If you guys haven't checked it out, please check it out. Like the video for me, guys. But I'll put the link down below for that in this video. Um, but let's get into it. So I was thinking about it. And I'm like, you know what? What are some things from my perspective that I know that helps get into that flow state, right? To me, it could be a couple of different other answers or a couple of different other things that attribute to it. But to me, I thought about it and I'm like, well, these are kind of the things that I notice, at least for me, that can get me into that flow state, right? And we're gonna kind of go down each of these, right? So I named 6 of them, but you could go really deep into what they are, and we may just do that, right? We may go really deep into this just to kind of like break it down and show you, right? So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna show you the 1v4 clip that won the game. And like I said, if you want to see the full entire video, like I said, I'll put the link down below for that. Okay. But we'll watch like just the 1v4, right? So it's, so I get to this area and it's my teammates let me know it's 4 guys up, right? Like I said, it's a lot of pressure because it was a long match and we clawed back, right? We clawed back. Um, and my teammates did a good job of being able to like get themselves going when we needed to get going. And now it's all up to just me, right? So these are moments that I love. These are moments that, like I said, I live for, right? But if we lose this, all of that hard work that me and my teammates put in goes out the window, right? So I have to do this. Like there is no I can't, there is no I don't know if I can, or maybe I can, or I think I can. I have to do this, right? So that is like number one, right? That confidence in self to say there's no other way but forward. So I'm just gonna show you the clip and we'll go from there.
One left. You got him. Nice.
All right. So, what attributed to this, right? Because, we've seen plenty of guys, whether they're pro players, whether they're really good players, um, be able to pull off moments like this, right? And, as I was thinking about this, right, I can break this right here down, and it's a whole other type of thing. But you saw the clip, you saw kind of what happened, and I wanted to kind of like break down from my perspective after having a little bit of time to kind of think about what goes into being able to get into a state where things slow down for you and things feel like you can do no wrong. Okay. And as I'm talking about these things, listen, if you guys have seen Dragon Ball Super, think about fucking Goku. Think about what he was going through to get into that flow state, get into Ultra Instinct, right? If you guys have ever played a sport or you guys have done anything like that that requires you to do it, think about that, right? Think about those things, right? So, this is hopefully to kind of help you guys kind of understand my mindset when it comes to it. So, you could kind of understand some of the things that go into creating that flow drink, if you will, right? So for me, this is in no particular order. It's just however it happens, but in my opinion, these things have to kind of be there. So adversity, right? Adversity has to be there, right? Let me show you. Sorry, let me show you something. So um, all right. So if you look, this is from the game right here, right? This is from the game itself. So we were down 5-1, and we came back from 5-1, um, round by round by round. One of the things that was kind of going against me, and like I said, I say adversity, right? So we had the 5-1 situation. That's a part of the adversity, right? The game looking like it seemingly is over. Number two was there was a guy on the other team when he won the fifth round, I believe. Um, Let me see if I can find it in here. This might be it. Over there by
On the stage.
biases, bro. Okay, so that's not it. Well, so there was a situation where one of the teammates they went around and he, did what anybody would do, which is and shoot the ground after he killed us all, and he was twirling doing 360s, right? To me, that's like okay, he thinks the game's over. And rightfully so, right? You got a team 5-1, the game's over, right? It should be, but he thinks the game is over. One of the things that I know is, if there's still time on the clock is still going. That means you got enough time to still try to do something. So to me, the game wasn't over, right? So that's number two, right? So we're down 5-1, and you got a guy on the other team who's shooting around doing 360s, gloating as if the game's over, right? So my teammates also weren't playing well. I had two teammates that had like zero or one kill for like the entire 5 to 6 rounds already, and I was playing well, and I had another teammate who was playing pretty decent too. So a lot of this adversity, right? A lot of these things mixing together that was fueling me, giving me fuel and motivation to continue to want to keep going, right? So that's number one. You have to have some type of adversity within the game. A lot of guys try to like pretend like it's not there because they don't handle adversity well, but you need to accept that there is some adversity in front of you and you need to like own that, right? Because that's the fuel that you need. So, number two, skills from hours of practice. So, this is a huge one, in my opinion, right? Because listen, this clutch right here does not happen if I don't have practice and from hours of aim lab training, from hours of Kovacs, from hours of playing other games that require me to have that type of tight aim and clutch like situational awareness, right? This doesn't happen without that. The reason why skills from hours of practice is important is because you don't want to worry about mechanics when you're in a game, like when you're in a situation where you don't need to worry about mechanics, because there's so many other things I need to be worrying about, right? I need to be worrying about where this guy is coming from right here. Now I need to be worrying about what my next move is. I don't need to be worrying about, am I smooth tracking? Am I flicking? Do I need to put put more tension on the mouse? Do I need to, you know, am I hitting two when I need to hit three? Like I don't need to worry about that. This is where hours of practice comes in play because you don't think about the things that you've done over and over and over and over again. You can just think about the game. That is a part of freeing your mind up to be able to play the game. That's a huge part of being able to get into a flow state. When you have too much on your mind, you can't get into a state where you need to just be free, right? So practice, guys. Practice, practice, practice as much as you can, whether it's 30 minutes a day, whether it's an hour a day, whether it's 2 hours a day, whatever. You need to practice because you need to be able to get your mind to a place where you don't think about flicking, you don't think about tracking, you don't think about this mechanic and that mechanic. It's just natural, right? So that frees up your mind to be able to get into a flow state. And that's a huge part that goes unnoticed, and that's why a lot of guys can't tap into that flow state hardly ever. So number three, consistency within the game, right? This is a huge one that a lot of people don't really grasp. They think that if they play bad for 3 rounds, it'll just click. In my opinion, it doesn't work that way. In my opinion, like I said, I finished this game 21-5, which means that I was having a lot of kills um throughout the game and I had less deaths, which means I was consistently playing well and I was in a rhythm as the game was progressing. I didn't have to try to get into a rhythm, right? I was already in a rhythm. And that's one of the things that you want to make sure you try to do. It's getting into a flow state, ultra instinct, whatever you want to call it, is not something that you just do, right? You don't just get into it. You want to be consistently trying to play well and throughout the game because that then is also another thing that you don't have to think about. Like if I'm already playing well, I don't have to think about trying to play well, right? It's a lot of brain power and bandwidth taking up trying to play well when you're down. Versus if you're the one playing well when you're down, that's something that you don't have to worry about. A huge part of your brain that you don't have to worry about, right? So practice trying to be consistent in everything that you do, right? Because when you're consistent and it's working, even if you're losing, but it's working, you're getting kills, you're seeing success, that's just going to give you extra confidence as you continue to start to clutch up in these games and start to win round after round after round because you know that you can do it, right? That builds your confidence round by round, kill by kill. It builds your confidence. So, and you know, like, oh yeah, I'm 7-2. You know what I mean? I'm 10-3. Like, oh, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? So don't negate playing well and thinking that it's just gonna come to you, right? It's not how that works. My fourth point, confident in oneself, right? Based on what you've done in the past in clutch situations, um, is huge. No, me knowing that I've played multiple games on mouse and key, multiple games on controller, knowing that I've been in clutch situations before, I've been in flow states before, knowing that I can go and pull from those scenarios and those situations helps me know that I can do it now, right? When you're in a situation where it doesn't look like it's going to work out in your favor, you know that like that's just a moment where your confidence is waning just a little bit. But if you go back and you can think about the 20 times you were clutching up, the 30 times, the hundreds of times you've clutched up in situations just like this, it gives you that extra confidence that you have within yourself because maybe your teammates don't have the same situations that you were able to go through and clutch up in, but you do. So you're able to go and pull from those and give yourself that extra confidence boost in the game, in the moment, in real time to push you forward, right? So all of this, if this is you where you're like, you know what, I haven't been that clutch player, this can help you get there, right? So on to my next point, right? The fifth point, right? Basic game knowledge has to be known to free up the mind. This is goes back to my other point, which is about practice. This this clutch,
Hell of a play.
right? This clutch, I I knew this spot very well, right? Because I played it. I didn't have to think about where guys might come from, where certain spots were playable. I was able to make the moves, right? I was able to make the moves. I was able to reposition because I knew this spot in this area well, right? And they didn't. That's why I was able to catch them off guard, right? And this is another thing. It freed my mind up to do this, to just kill. It freed my mind up to kill. I didn't have to think about is there a door here? Is there a walkway here? You know, is there a little secret spot that they could like peek out of? I didn't have to think about that. Why? Because I knew the areas on this map well enough to where I knew that I was going to be okay. As long as I hit my shots, I was going to be okay. I knew that. Map knowledge, guys. Don't take that stuff for granted. Don't just get on and be like these guys who are like, oh, I don't know where this spot is, or I didn't know that, or it's my first time looking at this map. Don't be that guy. Like I said, do everything you can in your power to make sure you know as much as you can, because I yet again, it frees your mind up to just play the game. It frees your mind up. You need to have freedom mentally to get into the flow state. I can't stress that enough. You have to put in a lot of time and effort to get all of the knowledge into your head. But once you do and you start to apply it and it becomes muscle memory, now that frees up a huge part of your mental bandwidth when you're in situations where you need the clutch. You do that, then you open up your mind to being able to just worry about killing and repositioning. That's it. That is a huge part to get you in the flow state. Last but not least, one of the things that I think contributes to the flow state, especially from this clip and this entire game that I played, being relaxed, calm, and breathe. Right. If you notice in this clip when I clutched up, I wasn't moving side to side and doing all of this. I wasn't like, oh, ooh, ah, ooh. I wasn't doing any of that. I was calm. Everything was even. I didn't get too high, I didn't get too low. Everything was just right here. That's where you have to pay attention to how you are in situations like this. Years ago, I did that. I paid attention to, am I tense? Am I tight? What's tight? What's tense? Am I breathing? How's my breathing? Is it shallow? Is it fast? Is it, I'm gonna pay attention to that kind of stuff. Are you somebody who gets really animated? Or, are you somebody who every time something happens, it surprises you, it shocks you, got to bring that down. Got to bring that down so you could focus. You can listen to what's going on around you, right? You can see what's going on around you. Are you somebody who just gets so afraid and so jumpy and jittery? Got to bring it down, right? So to me, these are the things that for me personally gets me into the flow state, gets me into that state where of zen, where I can just focus up on playing the game, and that gets me the majority of my results. So guys, it's gonna be it for this video. Like I said, I'm gonna leave the link down below to this crazy comeback. Um, like the video, guys, if you got something from this. If you guys got any more questions, link them down below for me. I'm out. Peace.